Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute pinnacle of club football, the 2026-27 UEFA Champions League. Now, if you've been following the sport at all lately, you already know the landscape of European football has fundamentally shifted. We're totally past the traditional tournament structure most of us grew up watching. Instead, we've got a brand new format, a grueling year-long schedule, and financial stakes that are, quite frankly, astronomical. We're going to break all of that down today so we can really understand how this massive sporting machine operates and why it matters so much.
Okay, let's dive into this. We've got four main things on the agenda today. First up, we'll look at the sheer scale of the tournament with that incredible €2.46 billion prize pot. Second, we're going to decode the new 36-team format. Third, we'll chart the calendar on the road to Madrid. And finally, we'll break down the money, figuring out how all that wealth actually gets distributed round by round.
Section 1. The €2.46 billion tournament. The ultimate prize in club football. You really can't grasp the modern Champions League without wrapping your head around the financial gravity holding it all together. So the absolute most crucial point is this staggering number, €2.467 billion. That is the total provisional prize pot UEFA has carved out to distribute to clubs for the 2026-27 cycle, which, by the way, also includes the UEFA Super Cup. Just let the scale of that sink in for a second. This isn't just a trophy we're talking about, it's a massive economic engine. The stakes have literally never been higher, and this vast wealth is exactly why this one tournament pretty much dictates the entire global football economy. And look, because the stakes are that high, it draws the absolute giants of the sport. You've got your traditional juggernauts like Real Madrid, who pulled off that insane three-peat back between 2016 and 2018, and Bayern Munich. Then you've got modern financial powerhouses like Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain, with PSG always eyeing a way to turn their domestic dominance into European glory. This kind of wealth attracts and keeps the absolute pinnacle of talent. If you want to see the best players on the planet, this is the stage they're fighting to be on. Moving on to Section 2, the new 30-16 format, surviving the obstacle course. You actually want to think of this less like a traditional tournament bracket and way more like a highly competitive video game where teams have to survive a brutal obstacle course to reach the final boss. For decades, we all knew the drill, right? The old group stage. 32 teams split into 8 groups of 4. You played the same 3 teams twice, and that was that. Well, as of the 2024 changes, that old system is completely gone. Welcome to the era of the new league phase. This totally rewrites the tactical playbook for managers because the predictable math of the old groups has been replaced by a much wider, way more unpredictable battlefield. So how exactly does this new Level 1 actually work? The league phase is this massive, sprawling 36-team single league table. Instead of playing the same 3 teams home and away, every single club now plays 8 matches against 8 completely different opponents. You get 4 games at home, 4 away, and your rivals are drawn from 4 different seeding pots. What you really need to take away from this is the sheer variety. Fans are getting way more diverse matchups. And the clubs? They have to scout and prep for 8 distinct tactical challenges just to survive the first phase. It's wild. And here's how they actually advance. It really is exactly like hitting video game checkpoints. Step 1. The teams that finish in the top 8 of that giant 30-16 table, they get a fast pass, straight to the round of 16. Step 2. If you finish somewhere in the middle pack, from 9th all the way down to 24th, you aren't safe, but you aren't dead yet. You have to survive a super high-stress, 2-legged playoff just to grab one of those remaining knockout spots. Step 3. If you place 25th or lower, game over, you're completely eliminated from European competition. So every single point, and honestly every single goal in that league phase, matters immensely. Which brings us to Section 3, the road to Madrid, charting the 2026-27 calendar. Let's map out how this actually builds chronologically, because it visually lays out the brutal year-long physical and mental toll this takes on a squad. The whole thing kicks off way back in July and August of 2026 with the qualifying rounds for the smaller clubs. Then the heavy hitters jump into the league phase, running from September all the way to a massive unified final match day on January 27th, 2027. If you manage to survive that, you hit the knockout phase, the playoffs, the round of 16, quarters and semis, spanning February right through May. It's an absolute marathon of elite football that demands incredible squad depth. And the whole crazy journey culminates right here, Saturday, June 5th, 2027. The 2 last teams standing will face off at the stunning Estadio Metropolitano in Madrid, Spain. This is the grand finale, an entire season of football, billions of euros, and countless tactical battles, all filtering down to these final 90 minutes in Spain's capital. Finally, let's get into Section 4, breaking down the money. Accumulating wealth in the Champions League. Okay, we threw around that 2.46 billion euro number earlier, but how exactly does a club get their hands on it, step by step, round by round? UEFA's strategy divides the overall fund into three distinct buckets. 27.5% goes to equal starting payments. 37.5% is tied directly to what happens on the pitch, winning games and advancing. And 35% is held back for the value pillar, which we'll get into in just a sec. It's a really calculated mix that rewards both current success and historical prestige. Let's start with that first slice of the pie, 18.62 million euros. That is the guaranteed starting fee for all 36 teams that make it into the league phase. Before a single ball is even kicked in September, before a single ticket is sold or a bonus is earned, just showing up to the league phase guarantees a club nearly 19 million euros. For a lot of clubs, that kind of cash alone completely changes their financial trajectory for the next decade. Then we get into the performance payments. Every single league phase victory is worth an additional 2.1 million euros. Even a draw nets you 700,000. Think about that for a second. With 8 matches in the league phase, a team that goes on a perfect 8-win run collects 16.8 million in match bonuses alone. And any leftover money from the draws, UEFA actually scoops that up and redistributes it based on the final league standings, meaning finishing higher up the table literally pays dividends. Once we hit the knockout stages, the money just starts stacking. Seriously, if you make the round of 16, you add 11 million. Quarterfinals, add another 12.5 million. Semifinals, 15 million. Just reaching the final secures you 18.5 million, and actually lifting the trophy gets you a final 6.5 million bonus. And remember, these aren't replacement figures. They stack right on top of each other. So the winner takes the 18.5 for being there, plus the 6.5 for winning. That means the final match alone is worth 25 million euros to the victor. Insane. But wait, there is a massive third revenue stream here, the value pillar. This is an 853 million euro secondary fund. Basically, it combines television broadcast market value with a club's long-term historical UEFA coefficient. In plain English, it means established, globally recognized clubs from huge TV markets get a heavily weighted secondary payday. 2 clubs could have the exact same wins and losses in the tournament, but the historically larger club is going to walk away with significantly more money purely because of this pillar. Now, the real magic happens when we put all these streams together. A team gets that 18.62 million base fee just for showing up. If a club wins all 8 league games, finishes first, and wins the whole tournament, but we totally ignore the value pillar, they make about 110.82 million. But when you factor in a top-tier allocation from the value pillar, an undefeated champion could take home well over 150 million euros in UEFA distributions alone. And remember, that doesn't even touch what they make on stadium tickets, merchandise, or their own separate sponsorships. So, we've followed the money, we've mapped out this brutal new 36-team gauntlet, and we know exactly when and where the whole shebang wraps up. The physical and financial stakes of the 2026-27 Champions League are just absolutely unparalleled in global sports. And it leaves us with one final thrilling question as the season approaches. Who do you think will actually survive this incredible obstacle course to claim that staggering 150 million euro prize under the lights in Madrid?